Welcome to the Better Business, Better Life podcast. Terry DuPont is the founder of DuPont Advisory Group, a group dedicated to providing comprehensive services to successful business owners, medical, and other professionals. Terry has top-of-the-table status in the prestigious International $1 Million Roundtable, placing him among the top 0.1% of all professional financial advisors in the world. Terry's philosophy is, I've learned that I grow and prosper more by focusing on the success of others, rather than fretting over my own. Terry is a certified financial professional with the Institute of Financial Wellness, an advisor for the Power of Zero Taxes in Retirement, chartered retirement plans specialist, certified wealth preservation planner, and certified philanthropic developer. On the podcast, Terry brings together experts in their field who have succeeded in building their business to share their secrets with you. And now, here's your host, Terry DuPont.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's podcast of Better Business, Better Life, Building on Your Success. And I'm your host, Terry DuPont. Today, we're honored to have Leslie and Brady Huffer with us. They own a marketing business in Fishers, Indiana. And I've got some information about you. I hope you don't mind if I read it. Okay.
Yes, please do.
Leslie and Brady started their digital marketing company as a side hustle, offering written and video content to businesses soon after they got married as a creative outlet and additional income stream while she was a special education teacher. And Brady, he was in corporate sales. Their marketing agency, Hey Huffers, I love that, Hey Huffers.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Grew faster than they had anticipated. And they decided to take the leap to quit their 9-to-5 jobs and turn it and run it as a full-time business at the end of 2021. A week later, they found out, the grace of God, that they were pregnant with their daughter, and they wanted to stay home and present with her each day. So in addition to Hey Huffers, Leslie has also started a community for other moms and mothers who want to work from home so they can be with their children. And this organization is called the Joyful WAHM, WAHM, which stands for Work at Home Mom. They love supporting entrepreneurs and empowering other families to discover time and financial freedom. So Leslie and Brady, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us. We're super excited to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and why you started your career in marketing?
Yeah.
Well, how do you go? Yeah.
So kind of like you mentioned in our bio, we had gotten married over the summer for me as a teacher. And about, less than 6 months later, I remember just feeling this feeling of like, you find your spouse, you're so in love, you want to, be with them as much as you can. And we were living such separate work lives, really, 40 plus hours of the week. We were completely living different lives. He was in a stressful sales job. I was in a stressful teaching job. And it felt like we would just come home every night and just kind of like not even really know how to like relate to one another and bear each other's burdens in that way, and didn't really want to talk about our job when we got home. So we were finding ourselves almost in a pattern of like, okay, well, let's go on a walk together. Let's cook dinner. Let's watch Netflix. Let's go to bed and let's repeat the next day. And I just felt like, is this it? Is this what it's going to be like? And for me, I'm such a planner. And I remember thinking ahead to, we always knew we wanted to grow a family. I'm like, are we going to be able to like make this work and have a growing family? And I always had the desire to be able to be home with kids. And I just was like, with that, put Brady in a bind, he'd have to be the sole breadwinner. And I couldn't work it out in my mind how it would work. So I just remember just over with that winter break. Like I said, it was just 6 months into marriage. It was about, half a year in. And I was just like, how do I monetize, what I'm already good at? So one thing that I really love doing is writing. And so I kind of just did some digging and found out that businesses would pay for like me to write their emails, blogs, website copy, all these things that I like would love to do and couldn't even believe someone would pay me for it. So that's kind of where it got started, actually, was with me. I just kind of said to Brady, like, I just kind of want to try something. I wanted to, like a lot of people wanted to start kind of a side hustle, could do it, before and after school, on the weekends, lunch breaks, all that stuff. And he was super supportive, and he was like, yeah, go for it. So, I started doing that, started having a little bit of traction. But what I was finding was a lot of these businesses really needed video content. Well, Brady has been doing video his whole life, really just as a hobby, as a passion. So I would just kind of mention
Went to school for it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I thought I would never use it. Just, I'll just get a sales job.
He thought it was like the starving artist, like the idea of like, you don't make money in video, like sales is where you make money. He just kind of was like wired in that. And so, I just kind of convinced him, I'm like, I think a lot of people could use video content. He's like, I don't really know if they could, but if they need it, let me know and I'll help out. Well, as we all know, it's 2023. So many businesses rely on video now. So that part of our business really grew and expanded. And so we started this back in 2019. And then, as we know, with 2020 COVID, a lot of businesses had to pivot to be more digital. So actually, the pandemic was really good for the digital marketing industry. So we kind of looked at each other during that time. I was still teaching, he was still doing sales, but we were able to work from home together, and we loved it. So we were like, what if we could do this forever, and on our own schedule and all that. So we just really, like I said, hustled really hard and worked really hard at it before and after our jobs. And we, like I had mentioned in the bio, worked hard on it to the point where at the end of 2021, we were like, I think we can swing this financially. We cranked the numbers, and we were like, I think, let's do it. I left in the middle of the school year, which is pretty radical, but we just felt like it was the right time for us. And then, like I mentioned, a week later, we left our jobs, and a week later I found out I was pregnant, which we were not necessarily planning on that timing, but how beautiful was that was the ultimate goal way back when. And now, like, all the, details lined up to allow us both to be home with our daughter, which is like the biggest blessing. So it's been amazing.
God will never give you more than you can handle with his help.
Yep. Absolutely. And the way that God lined up all those details, even with just even small things that to us weren't small, with like, I was, losing my teaching insurance, and I just happened to sign up for this health share. And it was like a weird thing where I had to be on it for at least 30 days. And I got pregnant 31 days after I signed up. Not, it was just like, while so our whole pregnancy was covered. It was just like, we just knew we were on the right path, and we were getting great clients, and a lot of things were just lining up for us in that way.
I'm just curious, was that Liberty Health Share?
It's actually called Christian Healthcare Ministries.
Okay.
CHM, yeah.
Liberty Health Share is what I used for a few years.
Oh, is it?
It was fake as well. So
okay, very cool. Yeah, there's several, and I did a little bit of research. We're liking it so far, but we're always open to other. I haven't looked into Liberty, so that's neat.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Part of that I have to go back and touch on. Transitioning from stable jobs to full-time entrepreneurship is a significant leap. What were the pivotal moments or indicators that made you decide to commit to Hey Huffers full-time? And you touched on it, but I want to drill down on it a little bit.
You do.
Sorry.
What were the pivotal?
Yeah, it's just like the sound didn't sound right.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Sure. Transitioning from stable jobs obviously was a big leap. What were the pivotal moments or indicators that made you decide to commit to Hey Huffers full-time?
Well, first I told her, like, we got to see the money first. We can't just be like, let's just quit tomorrow. This is what we want to do. No, it has to make sense. I said, we'll do this part-time. What would be a good indicator of like, hey, we should do this full-time is one of our salaries gets replaced with the income. And then as soon as that happened, I'm like, okay, I feel like it's a good time to.
Convinced. Yeah, I was convinced. Yeah,
so.
For sure.
It took me a while to convince me.
He's kind of the numbers guy in a lot of ways too, and wants to be
which
smart
doesn't make
that.
any sense, but it's somehow I'm the numbers guy. But.
Well, and like you mentioned, like we were leaving stable jobs. So like what we tell people is like we, left there's no like ground floor, but there's also no like ceiling of what we can make. So it's kind of like that trade-off. And so for us, we were willing to take on that risk, but like, it was hard to share that with our families who were like, oh my gosh, this is really, really risky, who now are like super supportive. But at the beginning, understandably, they were like, oh my gosh, you're leaving a paycheck every 2 weeks, and we did.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge you have faced thus far?
Uncertainty. You just never know. You gotta thrive in that environment of not knowing what's going to happen next month, and you got to be okay with it. You got to know that all you got to check all boxes, like making sure you have the outreach, making sure you're doing the right stuff for your clients, you're on top of things, you don't put stuff off.
And that we're always learning and growing and adapting to what the market needs. Like right now what's performing really well is like really short video. So like Brady's really focusing in on that for clients and things. So just kind of adapting. And I also would say it's the biggest blessing, but also a challenge to be home with a 1-year-old and running a business,
Well, that's my
so that's
next
kind of what we're
question.
juggling. Yeah. So we can get into that.
Running a business together as a couple,
Mhm. Yeah.
obviously can be both very rewarding and yet
Mhm.
demanding as well.
For sure.
How do you navigate and separate personal life
Mhm.
from your professional partnership
Yeah.
and working from home?
Well, that actually is the biggest challenge.
Yeah, that is a challenge. You
Yeah.
want me to take that or you want to
You,
take it?
you can take that first.
I think like within any marriage, it's, a lot of communication and, communicating expectations and things, but it's kind of to that next level, with the additional layer of we are together pretty much all the time, running a business all the time. But going back to my original story of when we were living such separate work lives, now we're able to live, such similar work lives and really work towards common goals together, which has been really, really rewarding. That being said, if there is a stressor in the business, like it's affecting us both too. So the fact though that we have each other to lean on and we can kind of communicate through that and kind of work through that together, it's honestly only strengthened our marriage and our, communication, all of that. And then the additional layer of adding a energetic toddler,
Right.
so that's a whole nother layer of communication where before she was born, we could work. Now it's a lot of, who's going to take her in the morning, who's going to watch her at this time, who's going to do this because I have this meeting or this project or whatever it looks like. So it's just a ton of communication and honestly changes in different seasons, I think too.
And also, when you had the 9 to 5, while you're working 9 to 5, you're on work mode. And as soon as you get home, turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot that part is simpler.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not glorious
anymore.
9 to 5. Yeah. But now it's we can't work at the same time because we have a daughter. One has to watch
unless she's napping. That would be
Nap time is work time.
Or she's in bed. Yeah. But other than that, she's busy. So we kind of trade off, which again, it's such a blessing to be home with her. So like, we like to make it work, but sometimes we're like, we understand why people go to jobs. It can be busy for sure when it's like busy seasons and things like that. But just kind of finding that balance. And again, it kind of changes day to day. So a lot of it is we get up in the morning and we communicate like, what do you need today? What do you need today? How can we make that work and keep our daughter happy, healthy, thriving, all those things too. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Let's touch on the Joyful WAHM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working at home mothers. That's
Yes.
it sounds like a wonderful initiative.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate, Leslie,
Yeah.
on motivation behind creating this community and
Yeah.
what specific challenges were you aiming to address for work at home mothers or work at home moms?
Yeah, I love talking about it. So what we were finding when I was able to pivot, from teaching to be able to be home with, our daughter now full time, we were just getting a lot of questions of like, how do you do it? How do you make it work? And what I was finding in a lot of mom communities online was a lot of moms asking like, how can I make money from home? Because they knew they had to bring in a financial piece to be able to swing it. And they knew that they wanted to be home with their children. And I think a lot of moms, they kind of like me, they know they want to stay home. But there are some moms who don't know they want to stay home until they hold their baby in their arms. They're like, I can't imagine leaving this baby. So they don't have a plan, right? So now they're kind of scrambling, looking for something that they can do that brings them, good enough income to stay home and to make it work, but also one that they don't have to be, necessarily on calls at certain times and they can kind of fit it into pockets of their day. So that's what I really like to share in this community is like ideas for jobs you can do from home. A lot of it is sharing out, different services that we're offering businesses that like they need so much help with these different things that people may not realize if they're not in the freelance digital marketing world. So I just kind of open their eyes to that and just kind of how lucrative that can be and how rewarding that can be. And how it's so possible to do even with a, busy toddler at your feet. So I show a lot of glimpses of what that looks like, to work alongside her. And a lot of it is also kind of using my education background, especially my special education background, doing a lot of sensory activities with her and motor activities with her during the day that keep her engaged, that give me, pockets of time to really get some work done. So I think those are things that I almost probably took for granted that I'm like, oh, I'm sure all moms are doing things like this. But talking to my mom friends, they're like, we don't know how to do all these, motor activities and things with our kids at home. So I'm like, what if I started just sharing? And it just started really organically where I would just kind of share little, like I said, snippets of our day and people really responded well to that. And so now we're just kind of creating, courses around how we do what we do and for businesses and also just that support for moms because it can be so isolating too. So I just think, that's really important. And I'm going to be blogging. We're creating a YouTube channel so I can share out things and just kind of using our marketing skills to now kind of help a new group of people and just kind of give back because what we do, like, it's not like only we can do it. Like, we want to share it with so many people because businesses need this all over. So it's not like, oh, we can't share our secrets. It's like, no, we want to share this because, like we said in our bio, like, it can empower other families. Like, their life could look completely different, if they were to start their own thing. And that's been so powerful for us.
And we can't work with everybody.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say. Like, we don't want to work with all these
us.
businesses. Like, we want to
Yeah.
like empower
Yeah.
other people to do it. It's so popular. And it's not like a competition of like, I want to keep these clients, like, and there's so many businesses are being made every single day, and every business needs some form of marketing. So whether it's starting out with a family or friend or somebody that locally or whatever, and then kind of expanding, like, the beauty of digital marketing is we work with clients all over. We don't have to be in the same physical location as them. So it really opens up doors to work with people from, really anywhere, which is neat.
You
So
might
there's a lot
start
of
a
opportunity.
podcast for all the members of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So tell me, what's something now, Brady, that, and you can chime in too, Leslie, obviously.
Yeah.
What is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
Something I know now that I wish I didn't know when I started.
Wish you knew when you started. Like, what would you go back and tell yourself, basically?
I'm going to go back to the uncertainty.
Be
okay with the uncertainty. Don't let it scare you. Don't let it keep you up at night.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace the uncertainty, because there can be a great reward at the other end of the tunnel of uncertainty. I guess that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, were you going to say something for that?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I think the scariest thing really is starting. Like, it's so, like, for us, it felt so vulnerable to tell people, like, we're starting this. I mean, I have no background in marketing. I had to like learn it all from the ground up. Brady, he took some courses on video, but not necessarily the marketing piece of it. So like, we were literally building a business from scratch. So it wasn't really, it had much to do with what I was doing in teaching. So it felt really like awkward and, hard to tell people that we were switching. But as soon as we did, we've just received so much support. So I think some people are so nervous to like step out of their comfort zone and try something new. But that's what I like to tell people, like, the freelancing digital marketing world is like, you can just kind of dip your toes in and try things here and there and see what you like. Like, for me, I love writing. And so I get paid to write for companies, and it's so rewarding. Same for him with video content. But if we hadn't started, like, we didn't know all the answers when we started, right? Like, we were just like figuring out as we went. And now we're a little bit more established and, can give some advice to people that are just getting started. But I think, like, had I never started, we would never be here today talking to you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
what is something that you like to share with each and every client that you have?
Oh, no.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go.
You cut out for a second. So
Yeah.
what was something you like to share with each and every client? Was that
Yes.
the question? Okay. Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, I'll start over because I'll cut that part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do that. Yep.
Yeah.
So, what is something or I should say, what is something you like to share with each and every client you have?
I really like to share with them. I think one thing that makes us unique is that we do everything in-house. So we don't outsource a lot of things. Some marketing agencies are outsourcing left and right to, and that's fine, to different even countries or whatever, but we really like take a lot of pride in the work that we do. So up to this point, we have done everything in-house. And while that can get busy, like, we love it. We love it. That's why we did this whole business, because we wanted to be involved in things. So I like to reassure them that, like, they're not just a number to us. Like, we really only take on a certain amount of clients so that we can really serve them well. And so if they need to get a hold of us, they get a hold of us, and I think that kind of differentiates us from others in the industry.
Right.
We're not the biggest company, but we are very personal. And I think I love that part of it. It feels like,
Right.
a little bit more.
I wanted to build off of that.
Yeah.
So it's not something we share, it's not something we say, it's just something we do. Responsiveness. A lot of times people I remember working at a company that did marketing. The response time, you had to get back with them, 72 hours tops. We get back with them within the hour.
Yeah.
If there's a question or anything.
Yeah, we're pretty
So
responsive.
we're on top of things compared to those larger companies. So I think that's something we like to do for our companies we work with. So
yeah, so that's we like that. We're people.
How do you define success?
That's a really good question. Do you want?
I would define success is you're not, what's the word? Tough one.
Do you want me to go first?
I'll say not being bankrupt and love what you're doing and knowing it's gonna provide. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, having money,
Yeah.
and not worrying about the next, like
I
being
didn't say
kind of at
being
peace
I
in
didn't say being rich or anything like that. It's not,
well,
facing financial hardship. You're doing what you love and you're gonna be fine.
and being like one
Yeah.
thing that we really like are passionate about is the fact that like we got debt free prior to starting our business. Like we got debt free early in our marriage. We did the Dave Ramsey thing. We did the whole, we're very passionate about that. So like we are very, even though it's like such a risk to the outside world that we're leaving our jobs, like we really lined our finances up to allow us to do that, to have some cushion, and just keep expanding on that too as we grow and invest in all those things. So I think that, is a big part of it.
That saved us definitely during the first year. The first year you're gonna have lots of hills and valleys. And your second year, of course, moving
kind of
forward, you
figuring
have
things
that.
out.
But having that backbone of not having student loans, car loans, all those different loans, high credit card debt, definitely saved our butt.
Yeah. Well, and to
Yeah.
expand on that, like I even define success outside of the financial, like especially now being a mom, and a wife, I really look at, at the end of the day, when I lay my head down, like, is my daughter, is she, thriving? Did she have a good day? Did she grow? Is she developing well? Is my relationship with Brady still really strong? Because that's super important. We don't want to be in business together and like bickering and at odds. Like it really should be strengthening our relationship. And that's what we found. There's definitely learning curves to working with your spouse for sure, to be with them full time. And we have to kind of figure out communication styles and when the other person wants to work and how they work and all those things. But once you kind of get into a rhythm with that, like I feel like there's success there, that we feel close in our marriage and that I feel successful as a mom and all those things too. So, and then now obviously like adding in the community of supporting other moms. So like that to me is a level of success of just like a mom kind of finding a win or feeling empowered that she can do something, for her family and, kind of have her own thing. And I don't know, to me, that success looks so different than financial, too. That's a part of it for sure. That's a piece of the puzzle, but it's bigger than that. Yeah.
What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those looking to transition from traditional jobs to pursuing their passions full time?
I would say get your finances in order. Yep. You're definitely minimally, I would say, get 3 months saved. I would say 6, hopefully. Then when you have that business, build that up to a year's worth of saving. Get rid of all your high interest debt. You don't have to pay off the mortgage or anything, but like if you have like a credit card where you're getting 25% interest on that credit card, that can rack up and eat off your profit. So
be smart about the finances for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think kind of going back to what I had shared, like it's important to just kind of start sometimes. I think it's so easy to sit back and be like, oh, well, they're successful, or they're, you see all these people, especially on social media or whatever it is, and you're consuming all of this and it's in your face that like everyone else is doing well and thriving and I could never do something like that. And honestly, like I think we're great, but we're nothing extraordinary. We are just two people who just kind of like put ourselves out there, continue to put ourselves out there, like put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation. We've grown a lot together and just like we're not the people we were at our full-time jobs. I feel like we've really grown in our confidence and what we offer and all of that, but that doesn't happen overnight. And so I think if people are too paralyzed to start, they'll never know what they're capable of, so I just think that's important.
Yeah. And I was going to also say, be okay with slow growth.
Yep.
Like, don't expect to be an overnight success. If you are an overnight success, the get rich quick, you can lose your money quickly. So slow growth, be okay with that.
Yeah. We like to say, instead of like get rich quick, build wealth sustainably. I think that's a really good way to do it. Because, here we are years later. A lot of times, what do you say? Businesses fail within the first
within the first year.
Years.
Yeah.
And so we're past that now. And it's really like, oh my gosh, we're still doing this. This is exciting and growing.
Well, I like to refer to that, when people procrastinate, like doing something like that, I call it paralysis by analysis.
Yep.
So you just got to,
you have to just do it. Yeah.
Being passionate about empowering others. Could you share a particular success story or moment where you felt especially gratified by the impact of your work on someone else's life or business?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll go first.
Oh, okay, go for it. Yeah.
Just recently, I won't name the business, but getting that guy, I made a video for a guy who made tiny homes, and was really neat about it was put the video on YouTube for him to get some exposure because he's wanting to sell it. You know, he made that tiny home with his bare hands. He didn't use any factory work, no other helpers. It was all made by him. And, you know, he called me because I reached out to him months ago, and he reached back out. He's like, "Hey, can you do a video for me?" So I ended up doing a video, ended up posting it on YouTube. Took a few weeks, but it took off, and now he's close to about 100,000 views.
Wow.
He's monetized.
His YouTube channel is monetized, so he's gonna be making money off that video on top of that. And
That's amazing.
you know, and I'm hoping someone sees that tiny home. I know there's relations and stuff, but if he sells that tiny home, yeah, he's gonna collect
A good amount of money.
a good amount of profit on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have one, Leslie?
I was just going to share, I actually just, it's funny that you asked that because I just posted on the Joyful WAHM Mom Instagram a quick story about a friend of mine who's also a mom who we had kind of talked about, you know, I encourage her to kind of start her own thing. And so she had started a photography business and it's just exploded. It's doing great. She has a house full of kids and she's able to kind of manage both. And so I've given her some feedback on some social media tips and things like that. But I just basically shared, you know, what she has said to me is like, it's so nice to have something that's my very own, you know, that she can take ownership of, and just like, you can just see it in her. Like she just holds herself differently because she has her own business and her own thing. And so she's able to be a better wife and a better mom because she has that creative outlet for herself. And I think as moms and as parents in general, like sometimes we lose ourselves in parenthood. So that's why I like to really focus in on that stage of life where it feels like everything is so kid-centered, and it should be, but also like, don't lose your passions, don't lose yourself in that. So that was an encouragement to me, an example of just empowering her to do that and run with it.
Okay, good. Excellent. Is there anything you would like to share that we haven't talked about?
That's a good one. I think we've covered a lot of things. I
Yeah.
think like we are super excited. I think as a lot of, you know, business owners that maybe will listen to this, like we're super excited. We love the end of the year to just really like reflect and like think about all of the ways that God has blessed us this year, and to look forward to next year. And we're excited to take on even more clients. We're kind of at a phase where, like I said, we have a busy toddler, but like we've streamlined so many processes that we're like, we can take on more clients, which is really exciting. And I think that, you know, we're looking ahead to 2024 with expectation of, you know, hopefully, you know, even growing bigger and helping more businesses. That's what it's all about. Like we love kind of being the behind the scenes and helping them, you know, get things rolling, because as we talk to business owners, they're like, we can't do it all. And we're like, that's what we're here for. We like doing these things, taking things off your list. So I guess that would be the thing I would say is just, we're excited, you know, moving ahead. And I've kind of joked about this for a while, but I still, Brady, we're doing it this year. We're going to do a company Christmas party. We're going to go, because it's just me and him and our daughter. We're going to go out and celebrate. And just, I think that's important to like really reflect and just celebrate the wins that you've had. It's so easy to just like breeze past and be like, okay, yeah, we did this and keep going. But like take those moments and just really be grateful for, you know, all that you've come, how far you've come. And as we look back to when we started, it's amazing, you know, just in the few years we've been doing it.
Yeah. And I was gonna say that having a safe 9 to 5 safety can be nice, but safety can be kind of boring.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and is it safe? Like we talk about this a lot, like, is it safe? You could go tomorrow and your business could be, you know, like your job could be gone, you know, for us, like it's our very own. So we can't lose it, you know? So that's kind of it's maybe what we're doing is safe.
Yeah. It's just
could be.
each day is new. It's not the same routine over and over again. We don't know if we're going to meet a new business. Someone's going to reach out to us through prospecting, meet someone new.
Yeah. You just never know.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing we haven't really touched on is like, yes, we've, you know, been able to achieve a lot more financial freedom because of having our own business, but like the time freedom is awesome. We're about to go on a big trip with his parents in an RV down to Florida, like for a couple weeks. Like we're not going to be in the RV for a couple weeks, just driving there. And then we have
I would lose my mind at that.
But yeah. But so I just like think that's so neat that we just like can do that versus like going to our boss, asking for time off, having to, you know, for me as a teacher, I'd have to make a sub plan. It'd be like a whole thing. So I just think it's so neat that we can just like get up and go. And that's what's right for our family. We can do that. We can bring our laptops and we can still serve our clients.
You can work while you're there.
Yep. Which I'm super excited about that. So
that means you can tax deduct your trip, by the way.
Exactly. Yes. We're learning all these things. Yes, for sure. Yes. Which is really exciting. So
with the success that you've obtained in a couple short years, what would you say your biggest challenge now is?
How to run this business with an active toddler and not be selfish and also still be a good husband.
Yeah,
So,
balancing it all.
yeah.
And in the back of my
Yeah.
mind, I'm always like, well, eventually we'll add another one. So like, even once we get our group with this one, then we'll
This is
throw
just practice, right?
Exactly. We'll throw another newborn in and it'll just be a whole
Well, if you
nother.
wait long enough, she can help take care of her little brother.
We've thought about it. We think about like, we're like, how old will she be before she can get diapers for mom or dad? So yeah, I just think kind of you can't obviously plan those out perfectly, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know we're going to add at least probably one or two more kids. And so I'm like, okay, even if we hit our groove here, that is that challenge of like, are we going to throw a wrench into the whole thing with a newborn, but like in the best way? And you know what? We'll figure it out. That's just what we do.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of questions. I've enjoyed talking with you. I'd like to talk more.
Yeah.
I do have a meeting coming up though. So,
we'll let you go. It's been fun.
no. We've got your information, contact info, et cetera, at the bottom of the screen, but where can our audience go to learn more about you?
Yeah. So we have a website, www.heyhuffers.com. Our last name's Huffer. So that's where we handle a lot of our business stuff. They can also email us directly, Leslie@heyhuffers.com or Brady@heyhuffers.com. We're, like we said it earlier, pretty responsive. And if it's a mom or someone looking for that community or some ideas to do from home to make some money, go ahead and follow me at the Joyful _WAHM, work at home mom on Instagram. I'm sure that's all in the notes and stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of where we hang out and we kind of share bits of our life. And like I said, we're going to expand hopefully into a YouTube channel and some other fun stuff this coming year. I'm super excited about it.
Okay. Well, it's been great having you on. I wish you the utmost success in all of your endeavors. It's great to visit and meet and talk with young entrepreneurs. I'm not that young anymore.
Oh, come on. Not true.
But
young
I'm still
at heart.
an entrepreneur. So,
yeah.
But anyway, we really appreciate you coming on. And remember, everyone, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So join us again next week for another episode of Better Business, Better Life, Building on Your Success. I'm your host, Terry DuPont. See you next week.
This has been the Better Business, Better Life, Building on Your Success podcast. If you have questions about creating tax-free wealth and income, forward-looking tax mitigation, strategic risk mitigation, wealth preservation and legacy planning, and advanced financial management, go to DuPontAdvisory.com or email Terry@DuPontAdvisory.com.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.